Ben Shephard has always been known as the steady heartbeat of morning television, the man with the calm voice, gentle humor, and the kind of smile that makes even the earliest hours feel a little brighter. To viewers, he seemed unshakable, the friendly face who navigated breaking news, emotional interviews, and unpredictable live moments with the same effortless grace. But what the world rarely sees is the price of that composure. Behind the scenes, away from the bright studio lights and cheerful morning banter, Ben had been carrying a quiet weight, a weight he didn't talk about, didn't show, and didn't want to worry anyone with. He kept moving forward, fulfilling every commitment, smiling through every segment, determined to stay strong even as life pressed harder against him. And beside him, through every long day and every quiet night, was his wife, Annie. The person who had always remained grounded, far from the spotlight, choosing a life centered around family rather than fame. The one who noticed the little things, the tired sighs, the faraway look in his eyes, the smile that didn't quite reach the corners the way it used to. Friends close to the Shephards had sensed it too. They described Ben as someone who loved his work deeply, who thrived on connection, who gave so much of himself to the world that sometimes there wasn't much left for him at the end of the day. His schedule had grown heavier, his responsibilities larger, and the pressure to maintain his usual warmth and professionalism became more demanding than ever. Still, he pushed on. He told people he was fine. He joked about needing a nap that lasted a month. He brushed off his exhaustion with humor. He reassured Annie that everything was okay, even when she knew it wasn't. But eventually, the stress he had been bottling up became too much to hide. One evening, in the quiet comfort of their home, something shifted. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It came softly, almost like a whisper. Ben opened up, really opened up, and the truth poured out with a vulnerability he had been avoiding for far too long. He told Annie he felt overwhelmed, that the expectations, the uncertainty, and the pace of his life had started to feel like too much. That he was tired, not the kind of tired a good night's sleep fixes, but the kind that builds, slowly, silently, until it becomes impossible to ignore. For Annie, hearing the man she loved speak with that much honesty hit her deeply. She had noticed the signs. She had felt the distance in his smile. She had sensed the strain beneath his quiet moments, but she had never wanted to push him before he was ready. And when he finally let the wall fall, she couldn't hold back her own emotions. There were tears, not from weakness, but from love, from recognizing the pain he had tried so hard to hide, and the relief of finally sharing it together. Their conversation, emotional and raw, became a turning point. A reminder that even strong people need softness. Even anchors need something to hold on to. From that night on, everything changed. Ben made a quiet promise to himself and to Annie that he would begin taking care of his emotional well-being before the stress became unmanageable again. For the first time in a long time, he allowed himself to slow down. He adjusted his workload, turned down certain commitments, and created more space to breathe. And surprisingly, he didn't lose momentum, he gained clarity. He began reconnecting with the simple joys he had forgotten in the chaos, peaceful mornings at home, laughter-filled evenings with his family, long conversations that had nothing to do with deadlines or schedules. Friends noticed the difference immediately. His smile looked more genuine, his energy more balanced. Even his humor returned with that familiar spark, playful, charming, and unmistakably Ben. Meanwhile, Annie remained the steady force beside him, the warmth he came home to, the partner who reminded him that vulnerability wasn't a flaw, but a sign of trust. Her support wasn't loud or dramatic. It was patient, gentle, and unwavering, the kind that strengthens a marriage in ways neither of them expected. Their bond, already strong, deepened through the experience. They laughed together more. They talked more openly. They allowed themselves to lean on each other without fear. And in that shared space, something beautiful emerged.
a renewed appreciation for the love that had always been at the heart of their relationship. When Ben eventually spoke publicly, he didn't reveal every detail. He didn't have to. He simply acknowledged that life can become overwhelming, even for those who seem calm and collected. And he encouraged others to recognize their limits, to open up before the pressure becomes too heavy, and to lean on the people who love them. The response from fans was immediate and compassionate. Messages poured in praising his honesty, thanking him for reminding others that emotional struggles are real, and applauding the strength it takes to be open. Many expressed gratitude towards Annie as well, recognizing the quiet power of her support. But perhaps the most meaningful part of their journey was the way it brought them closer as a couple. The emotional storm didn't weaken them. It forged a stronger connection. They had faced a challenging chapter, not with silence or distance, but with courage and tenderness. Ben's spark gradually returned, brighter than before, not because the pressure disappeared, but because he no longer carried it alone. Annie continued to stand beside him, not as someone who fixed the problem for him, but as someone who walked with him through it. She reminded him of his strength on the days he doubted it. She made him laugh on the evenings when he needed it most, and she gave him the space to heal at his own pace, celebrating every step forward. Now, as they move ahead, they do so with more understanding, more resilience, and a renewed appreciation for the love that binds them. Their story is a reminder that even the strongest individuals face quiet battles, and that true partnership shines brightest in the moments when vulnerability replaces perfection. They proved that honesty can heal, that connection can steady even the most overwhelmed heart, and that love, steady, patient, real love, remains one of the most powerful forces in any storm. For anyone listening who has ever felt overwhelmed, exhausted, or stretched thin, let their journey be a reminder. You're not alone. Reaching out, opening up, and allowing someone to stand beside you doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And if this story touched you, inspired you, or made you reflect on someone in your own life, continue supporting stories like these. There is power in compassion, strength in community, and comfort in knowing that even behind the brightest smiles, there is always a story worth understanding.